We went over some of the issues with the unlocking confidence.
Yeah.
And today I want to go over, or if you would like to, part of our audience is recognizing cognitive distortions. And what does it mean for an everyday person going through some stuff? Can you just explain so we can just get two parts on this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of, I mean, it's funny, I'm a therapist, but I'm not a huge fan of therapeutic terms. I think we complicate things more than
Right,
need to
right.
be. So cognitive distortions, long story short, it's just twisted thinking. That's all it is. That's the long and short of it. It's just twisted thinking. You look at a situation and you view it in a way that's just completely wrong, completely off the wall, right? Someone doesn't hold the door for you, and you're like, oh, how dare they? They probably hate me. They think I'm the worst person in the world, something like that. It's like, no, you're just too far away. But because of twisted thinking, you're internalizing that event, right? So there are a lot of different categories for these cognitive distortion or twisted thinking. And by being able to kind of pick up on it, you can start actually really challenging them and turning them around.
Right. I mean, basically, how would you put it in layman's terms versus that therapeutic side? Because my definition of it is, you know, you making excuses of yourself, you overgeneralization, you kind of filtering, you, thinking sometimes of the worst, and you're not challenge those thought patterns because it involves making excuses for yourself to propel you to the next level from an emotional confidence level. A lot of times you might be telling statements to yourself internally, not externally,
Hmm.
that move the direction for where you're going to go about your confidence, especially in today's world. My friend told me, like, a lot of these people mistake attention versus what confidence really is in business, especially with
Hmm.
social media and stuff. What's your take on that? Because if you can explain to these people what it does to them, maybe they can change it for the better.
Well, I think the first thing, what it does is usually it's again, twisted thinking and how we perceive ourselves, others of the world, right? It's something that, for example, like the all or nothing thinking, right? That's one of them, right? It's called black and white thinking. Something like
Oh, okay.
that's an example of a twisted thinking where it's like, well, there's no middle ground. It's either my way or the highway. And then you're like, but there's lots of other ways. Why are we locked into this, right? So that's just one example. So there's different categories, and Gordon, you touch on a couple of them, like filter, like mental filtering, catastrophizing, the black and white thing, overgeneralization, things like that. A big one nowadays is like all men are dogs, or all women are hoes, or things like that. Like those are overgeneralizations. And I guess to kind of answer your question though, like what essentially is causing that? Why do we have this twisted thinking? It usually has something to do with something we learned when we were younger, something that happened in our past, right? Something that, we didn't process properly. And so in layman's terms, it's what you have twisted thinking, you just stop and challenge it and ask yourself, is that true? Right? Is there really no other way? Are all men really dogs? Are all women really hoes? Or is this situation really as big as I'm making it out to be? Really stop and ask yourself, is the way I'm thinking accurate? And if it's not, we can change it, right?
Want more confidence and tricks to get your sexy back? Head on over to Boundaries and Brotherhood YouTube channel for more ways to boost your ego and get the respect you deserve.